Hey guys, if you're interested in the little shop manufacturing bracket for York 210 EDC for your LS truck, you're going to want to watch this video. We'll go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'll start with the good. This bracket that they make, it's really easy to install. I mean, you have no modifications. You have what? 1, 2, there's a nut on the other side, 3 bolts. Maybe not even 3 bolts, 2 bolts and a nut. Yeah, someone shows how much I was paying attention. And then you got 4 bolts for the York. I mean, there's really not a whole lot going on. It's a pretty simple install. It does exactly what you're going to buy for it. It works. It's well engineered. They designed it to take care of the ECU that's sitting right below where this would be. Mine's actually sitting here, so it doesn't really matter. Other good things I want to mention are it's just integration. It's on the serpentine system. You don't have to deal with the V-belt and having some weird custom bracket. That's actually what I did. I built a custom bracket and I ran the York off the V-belt. Didn't end up working in the long term because it wasn't lined up perfectly to throw the belt, but this is lined up great. It doesn't throw the belt. I've been running this for a while. As you can see, the pulley right here, it's actually a bit worn, so I have been running this for a while, kind of testing it out before I speak to its reliability. It is reliable. Again, it works. That's the good thing about it. Okay, so there are a couple bad things about this I wanted to point out. Now there's a bolt, which I can't really show to you, but it's down there. It's on the back side of the power steering pulley. It is a bolt, or sorry, a nut that this backside of this bracket is going to reach down there and it's going to slide over the bolt that's in there, and then you're going to put the nut back on over it. So the bad thing I don't like about that is there's not a lot of threads holding that on. So they tell you to Loctite it in the instructions. Yeah, I Loctited the piss out of that. Make sure you don't use red because you're going to be able to get that off at some point. So I use blue Loctite. So the bad thing about that is there's not a lot of threads. I'd like to see more thread engagement on that nut, but it's borderline. I think it's borderline. If you want to go the extra mile, I guess you could pull off the pulley and replace the bolt with the longer one. That's not something I really care to do because these pulleys are kind of a pain in the butt to get off. So whatever, I dealt with it. So at the moment, that was the only bad thing I really had to complain about. There were some other issues I had with the pulley, and I'll describe that later. I'll tell you what you want to look out for in terms of that. But in terms of ugly, well, I'm just going to be straight to the point. This thing's $400, and all I really needed, I need the bracket. That's it. I didn't need your ECU replacement. I didn't want your free T-shirt, but still $400. Basically, that's all I got, and a few bolts. And that was kind of frustrating. And to be honest, that's a little steep for really what this is. Unfortunately, Little Shop Manufacturing is the only people I know that actually make a serpentine solution for an engine-driven compressor, and they're the really only ones in that market. So I guess they're kind of dictating their own price, or maybe realistically that's how much they have, or they need to sell it for in order to make a profit. If you guys are watching this video, that's a steep price. It's hard to recommend something that expensive for just the bracket, and that's all I needed was just this bracket. And it's like 3 pieces of metal, and it's bent over a press brake. You probably plasma cut it out, bent it over a press brake, and welded it together in a jig. I mean, does that really cost $400? The other thing I didn't need your ECU relocation bracket. Look, that's already taken care of. I threw it in the garbage, so that's a bit of a negative for me. I threw that thing in the garbage. I was pretty frustrated about not being able to select whether or not I needed to relocate my ECU from roughly there to wherever the hell it was going. That was taken care of. So if I could deselect that option, that would be nice because save me a little money. Free T-shirt, don't really care about your free T-shirt. I feel like I'm still paying for it because nothing in this world is free. Even though you say it's free, you're probably putting the cost somewhere. So just a couple things I want to throw out there for Little Shop. I hope you do see this video. Otherwise, in the end, do I have to recommend this? 100%. I 100% recommend this if you have the money. This is the best type of air system you can have. This thing outperforms every single electric compressor, maybe besides the Oasis electric ones. Even those have their downsides, but this thing performs way better than any of the Viair or any of the other electric compressors that you're going to find on the market. So it's really, I mean, to each their own. I've been running one of these for a long time, but I really do recommend you guys go to a setup like this. Now, in order to get some of the nitty gritty details, I think you guys are going to watch for if you do purchase this. Be careful with the pulley. Little shop, you guys need to recommend purchasing your pulley, your specific pulley. I mean, here's a marketing opportunity for you. You guys have designed this bracket to fit with your pulley. I purchased a different serpentine pulley off of eBay for a fraction of the cost of what yours actually was worth. And the pulley fits differently. So the pulley was sitting like further forward, causing this belt to kind of wrap a little bit to the side and back down. So it ended up, it wasn't good. I couldn't run it like that. It was going to shred the belt. It was going to destroy it. So I ran the stock belt, which you still can do. You guys can actually bypass this pulley and just continue going on down with the stock belt if you need to. So I keep that actually in the back. In case you're wondering, this is the Continental belt. It's actually the recommended one that they tell you to get. Don't worry about the belt lengths. Just get the recommended part number and be done with it. I kind of dove a little deeper than I needed to about what the exact belt length was in terms of the part number. Don't worry about it. It's correct. That's all you need to know. Other things to look out for. Make sure you Loctite these. I'm not sure in the instructions that it said to Loctite these bolts that are holding on the magnet for the compressor clutch. What ended up happening is they rattled loose on mine, and they're just 1/4 holes, so get about a 1/4 by I think 1/4 inch or half. I put a 1/4 by half, Loctited it, and I put lock washers on it because I was driving down the road and I realized 3 of the 4 bolts rattled loose. So that had to get fixed. Of course, you're going to Loctite the center nut, center bolt. That's in the instructions. In case you're wanting a brief overview of what's going on, this is obviously a junkyard one. Actually, it's a rebuilt. I got it off eBay probably 10-12 years ago. It was the original barbed fittings. Obviously, if you couldn't tell, Little Shop does have their more current designs with the Rotolock ones that kind of screw in. When this one dies, eventually I will get that, but this has still been running, so I have no reason to replace it. But maybe when that time comes. A couple things, getting those bolts on, that's a pain. Those are a pain in the ass. These guys right there, there's 4 of them. Those lower ones are kind of a pain in the ass because they're just down there. Otherwise they're all right, but a little bit of a trick. If you have the right tool, you can get it done.